Hi everyone, welcome back to another video from eLearning Portal. I've been getting a lot of requests about the adaptive quiz where the images doesn't display. So if you've missed the video on how to set up an adaptive quiz, please go back and watch the video and follow along with this one. First, let's look at what the adaptive quiz does. So I'll enter the adaptive quiz, I'll start the attempt, and you'll see there immediately my image shows a broken JPEG file or a broken image file. Okay, and this video will focus on how to fix this. Okay, so let's just type in a random answer and submit, and you'll see if I continue, all my images displays like this. It doesn't display the correct image. Let me show you how to fix this problem. First, let's go into the question bank and see if there is actual images to display. So let's go back to the course. I'll go back, click on more and then question bank, and then I'll go to that particular question bank. Okay, so here we have all the questions within that quiz. You'll see it's 21 questions. And if I view them now, you'll see there's my image. Okay. Let's choose a random one, preview, and you'll see there's my image. Choose this one as well, and you'll see there's my image. Now immediately when I add this to a quiz, or I set up the adaptive quiz, all the images gets lost. Okay, so let me show you how to fix this. First, let's go to the course. Then if editing is not turned on, let's turn on editing. In the general section here, or you can use any section you like, click on add an activity or resource, and then click on glossary. Okay, so find the glossary. You'll see there's the glossary. I'll click on it, and I'll just call it glossary for now. So that will be my glossary. Under entries, I'll leave it on approved by default. Always allow editing on no. Duplicate entries allowed, no. Allow comments on entries, no. Automatically link glossary entries, yes. Make sure this is set to yes. Scroll down, under completion, just select do not indicate activity completion. Okay, save and return to course. Now go to your site administration by clicking on site administration. Then go to plugins and then look for glossary here. Okay, so there's my glossary. Now you need to make sure that the default settings are correctly set up. So let's scroll down and you'll see here entry level default settings. Okay, automatically link glossary entries, and we'll select yes. This entry is case sensitive, we'll select yes, and then match whole words only, and we'll select there yes. Scroll down and everything you can leave as is. Let's click on save changes, and now we're all set up. Let's go to our course again. Okay, so we're in our course now, and there's our glossary. So let's open a new tab with our glossary. So there's our glossary. Let's go back, and within our more menu button, let's click on question bank, and then we select the question bank where the adaptive questions are. Okay, so let's go into the question by clicking on edit and then edit question, and immediately you'll see 1.1, and there's my image. Now within the question, we are going to set up two buttons here at the top or at the bottom, wherever you choose. Okay, so let's bring this down. At the top there, we'll add some buttons. Okay, now let's open a new tab, and within your search bar type Bootstrap and press enter on your keyboard. then select getbootstrap.com. Let's click on that and then click on Docs. Now make sure that you're on version 4.6. Now in your left pane, let's select Components and then click on Card. Let's scroll down. We can use one of these components and I'll show you now how to use them. I'd like to use this one here. Okay. So what it does is it will add these two boxes in your question and then you can use these as pop-ups. Okay. And this is the code that we're going to use. So let's copy this code by clicking on copy. Let's go back to our question. Remember, we're adding it to the question. Okay. Let's click the expand arrow and then we go into our HTML editor. We'll move this down a bit and then we'll paste that code in here. If we now go back to our editing mode, you'll see it adds those two buttons. Okay. And it does nothing now. You can click on it, it will go nowhere. Okay. So if I save this now, let's save changes and continue, and then we'll preview it. Okay, so let's preview it now. Open it in a new window. You'll see there's my buttons. Okay, so what I'm going to do is when the user clicks on this button here, they will have a pop-up of this image here. Okay, and we can even do something with this as well. If there are two images or one video and an image, whatever you choose. Okay. So let's do that. So I'll close this preview. I'll go back to my question. I'll click on the expand button and then on my HTML editor. Now for this exercise, I'll only use one. Okay. So I'll remove the second box or the second card. So I'll remove it from here. So let's remove that. Okay. And let's just make sure that it actually removed that card. Okay, so there's one left. Okay, let's go back. So we can change this special title treatment. So I'll call this click to show image. Okay, then I can give a quick description here. You can use this button to reveal the image. Okay, and this is now. Here you need to be very, very careful. Okay, remember, if I go into my question, you'll see there my question name is 1.1 angles. I'll copy this here. Control C. And you can call it anything, okay? You can call it anything you like as long as it's the same as in the glossary. And I'll remove the space there and I'll use a dash 1.1 angles, okay? You can call it anything. You can give a description of the image, but it should be unique. Okay? Let's copy this now. Control C and go to our glossary, add an entry. Paste it in here. This will be our concept. Okay. Then let's close this. Let's go out of the HTML editor and now double click on our image. I'll copy this here. Copy this, go back to my glossary. Now I click on my image here within my glossary, insert image. I then copy my link of my image. I can add a description. You'll see immediately the image pops in here and I'll click on save and there's my image. Okay. I make sure, although I linked it in my default settings of my glossary, I still need to make sure that these are all checked and I'll click on save. So there's my first image and it's called 1.1 angles. Okay. I'm done here. Okay, let's just save this. Now I can remove my image, but let's just test it first, okay, before I remove it. I'll scroll down and I'll click on save. Okay, so now let's test this. So we'll click on edit and then we'll click on preview. What should happen now is when I click on this, it should show me the image, okay? And if you click on it, you'll see nothing happens, okay? Nothing. So let's go and figure out what actually needs to happen. Okay, I'll go back. I'll click on edit and edit question. I'll expand this editor. I'll then click on my HTML tags, which will open my editor here. When you look at the HTML code here, you'll see that the href and the button class, we usually pop in a link there, which will take us to that particular page or image or whatever the link is here, href. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to remove this and I just want to add a button state in there. Okay, so I'll go back to my Bootstrap. Remember, there's the little href class we've added. Okay, so I'll go down to buttons and I'll use the primary button. So all I need to do is copy this button here style. I'll copy it. I'll go back to my question and I'll paste it in there. So I'll remove that and paste that button style in there. So it says now button type, button class, primary, and that's primary. Okay, and I'll call this again. This should be 1.1 dash angles. Okay, that's all I need to do. I'll then go back and here you see the button has changed. I'll scroll down and I'll click on Save Changes. Our next step is to test our question. So let's go to Edit and then Preview. So here's our question. There's our card. We didn't remove the image yet because we're still testing. So let's click on Angles. You'll see nothing happens. The reason why I'm taking you through all these steps is to actually show you where to look at when you get stuck, okay? To actually troubleshoot and see how to resolve this issue. So let's go back. And now let's open a new tab with Site Administration and go to Plugins. Scroll down to where you see Filters. Here you'll see Filters and now click on Manage Filters. Within the filter window, let's look for the glossary. Here you'll see glossary auto linking and it's currently disabled. We need to enable this. So let's click on set it to on and immediately you'll see glossary auto linking is on and it's at the content level. Okay. We're happy with that. Let's go to our question now. Let's refresh it. And now let's test it. So I'll click on Edit, Preview, and immediately you'll see it's grayed out. And we'll change that option later on. It's grayed out, and if you hover over it, you'll see your mouse turns into a question mark. Now you can click on it, and you'll see the students will then access the image here. Okay, and it's nice and neat in a little card. They can click on OK and then answer the question. So we can remove this now. And the question actually displays neater. So they hover over it, click on it, and it will display this little pop-up. Click on OK, and now the students can select their answer. So let's fix this. It doesn't look nice. Okay, so let's fix it. Let's go back. I'll click on Edit and then Edit Question. I'll expand the editor and then click on my HTML. So now you'll see here button type, button class, and it's set to primary, the style. Okay, let's go back to our Bootstrap. And if we click on buttons here on our Bootstrap, you'll see there's my buttons. My blue indicates my primary. So it's my class is primary, and you'll see here there's my class primary. Okay, let's set it to a different color. I'll change it to maybe to warning, which is red, or danger, which is, and yellow is orange. Okay, so let's change it to that. I'll use the warning. So where it says primary, I'll just type in warning. Go back, and now you'll see it's turned orange yellow. I'll click on save, and I'll preview. Okay, nice. I can even change it to another color. If I want to change it to another color, I'll go to my Bootstrap and just change it to, let's say, that bluish color there. So it will be dark or light. So that will be dark, light. Info is that color there. So if I change it to info, let's do that. Let's go back, edit, and you can play with this and change the colors. But for now, I'll leave it on. Let's just change it to info. So all you need to do is change the back end of this class. So I'll change it to info. Let's look at it. Oh yeah, nice. I like it. Okay, let's save it and preview. Oh no. Okay, so maybe we should change the text. Okay, so let's leave it on orange. I'm happy with orange. So I'll expand it again. Editor, and that was, okay. That was warning, okay. Type in warning there. Okay, I'm happy with that. Let's save it. So now if I preview it, the learners can click on it and they'll see the image popping up. Okay, so let's remove the image there. Edit. And I will remove this. Okay, and there's my question. Let's save this and then preview. So here the learners can come in, calculate the size of the angle marked Y on the diagram. Which diagram? They click on it, click to view the image. We can even put this below the question or the question within this card here. Okay. So we can even move this button to where it says diagram. You can use your creativity. Okay. So the learners then click on the image or whatever name you provide here, and they will see the image. Okay, so now all we need to do is go to edit settings again, expand the editor, go to HTML code. All you need to do now is copy this code here. So I'll copy this. Okay, not the question, just the code for the button or the card. We'll copy that by right-clicking and copying, and then we save this. We go to our second question, edit this. Expand, go into our HTML editor. We can move this down. We can paste it here. We'll leave it on the warning, but this will change to angles 1.2. So I'll just change this to 1.2. I'll copy this, Control C. I go to my glossary. I'll add a new entry. I'll paste that concept there. Then, if you've noticed that if I scroll down, there's my image link. I can copy this image link to where .png. I can copy this, go to my glossary, In my definitions window, I'll click on image. I'll paste my link in there. For now, I'll leave this checked. There's my image. I'll click on save, and this will add my image to my glossary. I'll make sure that all the boxes are checked here, and I'll click on save. If I go back to my question now, so there's my question. It's set to that. If I go back, you'll see angles. If I save now, and I test it now, preview, you'll see immediately, if I hover over it, it changes to a question mark. If I click on it, it will show that image there. Okay. Instead of not showing the image, you can now click on the pop-up and it will show that image there. Okay, so let's remove the image. So you'll see there, study the diagram below. Okay, so remove it and we can add that text in here. Study the diagram by clicking on the button below. I'll save this. Let's test it. Preview. Okay, so there's my click to show the image. Study the diagram by clicking on the button below. I'll click on it. There's my image. Study the diagram below. Okay, select the value of X. Okay. So for now, I'll do the rest of them and I'll meet you on the other side to actually set up the adaptive quiz. Alright, so now that I've added all the images, let's set up the adaptive quiz by making sure that you are in editing mode. Then scrolling down and then clicking on add an activity or a resource. We'll choose adaptive quiz. We'll give it a name. Let's just copy this one here. Control C, Control V, and just call it adaptive quiz 2. I'll leave this on unlimited. You can specify your 1, 2, or 3 attempts. I'll choose my question pool, which is my geometry straight line, 21 questions. Then I need to specify my starting level of difficulty. I'll set it to 1. The lowest level of difficulty is 1. Highest level of difficulty is 3. I can provide feedback. The minimum number of questions is 1. The maximum number of questions is 21. And then my stopping area, I'll leave it as is. My grade, I can specify a grade to pass. Activity completion, here I set it to show activity as complete when students complete receive a grade. Okay, I'll click on save and display. There's my quiz setup. Let's start the attempt and immediately you'll see that my question is showing. There's my little pop-up I've created. So calculate the size of the angle. I'll click on that and it will show me the pop-up. Now students can determine, they need to determine the Y angle. They can now provide the answer. Okay, so click on OK. Let's say the angle is 30 degrees. They submit their answer and it provides us with a next question. Okay, again, I can click on it, look at the image and determine the Y angle here. Okay. And this is how easy it is to set up the adaptive quiz, but by showing the images. So this is just a little workaround while the developers of the adaptive quiz is still working on why the images are not displaying. So currently I'm using this solution and I hope it works for you.